John Krasinski's newest movie, If, comes out in theaters this weekend. Let's talk about if you should go see it. Welcome back, Kernels, to another movie review. Last night, I got to go see John Krasinski's newest movie, If. And so real quick, before I kind of dive into all of my thoughts about this movie, I'm going to give you the whole breakdown, what I liked about it, what I didn't, plot, everything. But real quick, again, before I do that, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing so you don't miss any other movie reviews like this one. Let's go. So the movie follows this girl named B, who has kind of, they don't directly ever say it, but that she kind of lost her mother. And she, she used to be this very, like all kids are, this very imaginative, playful girl who just, liked having fun with her parents and dressing up and just doing things that kids would normally do. Flash forward, she's now about 12 years old and she's just more quiet, more on the serious side. And now she's actually watching her dad have a surgery. Nothing, life-threatening, but it brings back all of those memories. And she's just trying to kind of forget it and get through it. This is until she meets Cal, who kind of teaches her that there are imaginary friends who their kids have kind of grown up and left the imaginary friends to kind of just, don't really have a purpose. So then the movie's plot kind of centers around them trying to get the imaginary friends back to their now grown-up kid and find out ways to kind of get those adults to realize that they still, are a child at heart, and to kind of just embrace their younger self. The first thing I will talk about is that this movie is drastically different than John Krasinski's other two films, primarily that he's directed, being A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2. Those movies are so much different than this. Obviously, those are meant to be horror, maybe a little bit of sci-fi, I don't know if that's considered sci-fi. This is a much more family-oriented movie about, just a feel-good, and honestly, the one thing that I will say is that, I was, going into this, this is definitely targeted towards kids, but if I'm being honest, after watching it, it definitely is, targeted towards adults and kids, because I resonated with a lot of the things that was going on here, and it didn't feel like it was haha poop joke, haha. It was very kind of like a mature kids movie, and I like that. They go through a lot of real life situations that maybe kids don't know how to react to, or they don't even know what the word means, and it's just they use the ifs, which are the imaginary friends, to kind of coat the the bad stuff, and they kind of use her as the example child of okay, this is if you're going through a rough time, this is how you can do that. I think she works really well as that role. Moving on to the actual ifs, there is quite a bit of them actually. There's a whole 30 to 40 minute sequence where they come into the movie about, I would say, about half an hour in, just really play this help us find a home kind of persona. They all kind of live in this I don't want to say it's a community, but it kind of is. They all have such unique personalities. I know they're voiced by a lot of really good famous voice actors, regular actors, just to name a few. I know Steve Carell is Blue, the big purple guy. And yes, they do make a joke about that in the movie, how he's purple, and they just say he's colorblind or something. I don't know. But I believe there's a lot of other, I know Emily Blunt voices one of the characters, I think the unicorn possibly. There's a drink of ice. I know Bradley Cooper voices, I want to say the ice possibly. There's an ice in a cup, and the one kid, yeah. There's a lot of really cool ifs. There's an astronaut. My personal favorite, I forget his name, but he's this detective, and you never actually see his body. He's just a shadow within a coat. I don't know. I really liked him. I thought he was cool. Definitely my most favorite designed if. So towards the end of the movie, as B kind of confronts I'm gonna be okay, I need my dad, and she her whole kind of letting go thing and stuffing her memories deep down, like, kind of goes away, like, as she tries to get over that. She goes back to where she met Cal, which was the guy played by Ryan Reynolds, who was teaching her about, like, the ifs and stuff. And when she gets back there, it's like this twist of, oh, he never, like, he isn't a real person. Then you find out that Cal stands for Calvin, which is the character that she had as an imaginary friend. They open up this paper, and he was a magician that she drew when she was a kid. And Ryan Reynolds' character in this movie literally plays her if, teaching her about other ifs. That's kind of a mind bender there. But what's really cool is that at the very end of the movie, she gets to see him again in his actual, like, magician costume that he was drawn in. And that was really cool. Which also, when you go back and watch or think about, like, what happened in the movie now, a lot of the stuff that Ryan Reynolds said, like, he's a very kind of, like, grumpy, like, he's not, like, a horrible person or anything, but he definitely has, like, attitude. And it's funny because, you know, you would expect that of being B's imaginary friend, and, you know, she hasn't really, like, talked about him or thought about him, and she's right there as he's doing all these things, and I just think that's really funny. John Krasinski is also in the movie. He plays B's dad, who is having, like, a surgery and stuff, and he's a really fun, charming kind of guy. He plays his role really well, and just kind of adds to the whole kid-like, fun, adventurous kind of thing of the movie. Again, I cannot stress enough, as much fun as, like, you know, you will see in the trailers of, like, oh, look at all the ifs and stuff, the movie has some really, like, I wouldn't say it's dark, but definitely some, like, serious moments of, like, oh, wow, like, that's a serious, like, thing to bring up in a kid's movie of, like, maybe, like, I don't know, like, a family member passing away, or something along those lines, and, like, how to deal with it, and they do it very, like, slowly and well, and it's really well thought out. It's really sweet, and it has those tones of, like, oh wow, like, this is how a kid would deal with those things, but, you know, this is how you can kind of get through it in a healthy way. I don't know, it works really well. The last thing I want to say is that, you know, as someone my age who just was watching this movie, there were a few times where it made me wish that this movie came out when I was a kid, because it really does make you, like, want to, like, look around you and be like, oh, there's my imaginary friend. I don't know, it gives you that, you know, like, not to make a comparison to, like, Kung Fu Panda, but, like, when Kung Fu Panda came out, like, everyone was just, like, doing Kung Fu, well, like, and, like, doing all this stuff of, like, what? Well, in this movie, it, like, really does make you want to have an imaginary friend, or not lose that childlike wonder of yourself. So I really like that kind of, that it can give you that feeling from this movie. Yeah, guys, that is my review of If. Let me know down in the comments who your favorite If in the movie was, or if, you know, what you just thought about the movie in general. I'd love to know all of that stuff down in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss any other reviews like this one. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.